At the tail end of the 2010s, a film quietly yet assertively planted itself in the field. A gargantuan 4-hour monolith from China gradually beckoned us without even calling, like the titular elephant itself. The alluring poster, notes about the artist's death, and recognition from renowned filmmakers had captured the intrigue of more and more curious film lovers worldwide. Accounts trickled in. Words seemed to describe a religious experience, a rare artwork that any director would be lucky enough to make once in their lifetime. Word spread, and every film lover had to get their hands on Hu Bo's An Elephant Sitting Still. Hu Bo was an author and filmmaker who wrote 3 novels and directed 6 short films. He graduated from Beijing Film Academy, perhaps hoping to follow the 6 generations of Chinese cinema that preceded him, and was mentored by the great Tarr. In 2016, Hu pursued his ambitious debut for his only feature film. On October 12, 2017, Hu Bo committed suicide at the age of 29. The film hadn't even been released yet. Many have taken this information and ascribed An Elephant Sitting Still as a cinematic suicide note. Personally, I feel like leaning too much into this can romanticize Hu's death or misrepresent the intentions of the film. Due to his short career, there is no extensive biography on Hu, and hardly any supplement interviews. Yet something in me doubts that Hu made this as some sort of pre-planned grand finale to close his life on. However, that doesn't mean An Elephant Sitting Still can't show us insight into a man who was clearly drowning in pain and depression. As a clearly disturbed individual, Hu uses this film to explore the most prevalent aspect of humanity that has spurred us all since the dawn of man: suffering. Where does suffering come from, and what do we do to escape it? The film focuses on 4 characters, all loosely connected in some way, yet typically relegated to their individual strands. It takes place entirely in one day, as it worsens for everyone by the minute. Every outlet our characters seek leads to more disaster in their life. Some characters are victims, while others bring about their own anguish, encompassing all forms of suffering, from self-cause and outside affliction, from the external societal pain brought by a modernity that has failed its people, or the inner angst we all feel encumbering us. One of the side characters at one point recites, "The world is a wasteland," and the scenery seems to support this. Dusty streets and disheveled trash litter the alleyways and the roads of this Chinese city. The wear and tear of the housing developments reflect our characters' neglect, looking like they could collapse at any minute. In a fit of rage, Wei Bu curses and screams across a scrapyard. Who he is insulting is not clear, but perhaps he is cursing life, or even China itself. The distinct visual style is both off-putting and engaging. On one hand, the colors are vehemently muted into the dreariest monochromatic gray, so bleak it emits a low moan, humming throughout the assembly. The film's natural lighting constantly encases our characters in a cover of blackness, enshrouding them in sorrow. On the other hand, every scene is filmed in one extended, glorious take, immersing us in the character's subjective experience, unblinking, unbroken, fully conscious of life, the way we all see it. At times, the camera will take odd angles as key moments happen off-screen. Cinematographer Fan Chow maintains a hyper-focused lock on extreme close-ups of our characters, as the gray world around them dissolves into a blur of fury. It keeps us anchored to the subjectivity of the character. Long takes and tracking shots are a staple of slow cinema. One of the best examples to find these would be in the work of Tarr, Hu's mentor. Not simply for the long takes, but their implications. Tarr crafts worlds that are cruel and devoid, yet they are enrapturing in a divine sense, whether that divine entity be evil or good. An Elephant Sitting Still contains a constant droning guitar score. Heavy and soulful, it lulls you into a trance, connecting the 4 stories, making them feel like one. It feels like one experience shared from a different perspective by different people. After all, life is one astronomical story consisting of all our experiences, shared but also separate. This revelation can make us feel insignificant, but it can also enlighten our viewpoint and illuminate sympathy and misguidance for others. Perhaps this is best represented through 2 of the 4 characters, Wei and Yu Cheng, the former whose face feels structured for sadness. The former has fatally injured a bully, while the latter is the bully's older brother, a gangster sent by his family to find the boy who did this. Two characters antagonized by each other, yet not even knowing what the other looks like. In contrast, the audience sees both stories unfold, and wants neither one to win or lose. We simply sit on the edge of our seats, helpless against what tragedy might befall these wayward souls. The ensemble four represent the universality of suffering. In addition, there are secondary characters all throughout, whose bad days are tantamount to our main four, such as Yu Chang's friend near the beginning, or Wei's friend. The final nail driving home the point that everyone is in pain, although we don't always notice. There are no villains in this story, just people who are hurting. It feels prophetic, almost like Magnolia, as it's quite a divine coincidence that all these characters happen to be having the worst day of their lives all at once. Something else to note is the characters' relationships between their families. If you saw The Farewell, you know how important collectivism and family is to Asian cultures. In many Eastern regions, the family is just as important as the individual. Yet in An Elephant Sitting Still, we see those ties completely dissolved. Hatred between parents and children, brothers and brothers. Our protagonists feel more than alone, but abandoned. Casually mentioned between the characters is a legendary elephant that sits idle and indifferent to the struggles of the world, completely secluded and unaffected. So what is the solution Hu presents for suffering? Does the answer lie near this elephant's attitude of detachment? Or is it merely a mythical symbol, an ambiguous sign of something greater to distract our characters from their misery? Perhaps this film offers no answer at all, and is simply an exercise in nihilism and pessimism. I believe part of the solution lies in how we allow ourselves to be affected by suffering. Now obviously we are not 100% responsible for our problems. There are abusive parents, bullying, betrayal, violence, or unjust systems. Yet when we latch onto those things, our pain increases. The Buddhists assert that pain is unavoidable, but when we dwell on our pain, it is like being stabbed with two arrows. One arrow is for the initial source of the pain, while the other arrow is our lingering on it, causing us greater suffering. In this light, An Elephant Sitting Still becomes a Buddhist film, and the elephant a Buddha. Choosing an elephant as the representative animal evokes stamina and strength, a sturdy position against the material world. Again, much like Tarr, it is a spiritual film with a lack of spirit. Humans are motivated by a problem-solution drive. We have an itch, we scratch. If we are hungry, we eat food. If we are cold, we put on a jacket. If we are unhappy, we strive to find something that makes us happy. As the problems become more and more complicated and grandiose, it becomes harder to find a solution. Before we lose our sanity, we reach for the most convenient means of escape to end our suffering. As mentioned, our characters are not to be blamed for all their issues, but in another way, they are. In one instance, Yu Chang blames a girl for his poor decisions and mistakes. Passion, revenge, regret, zeal, desire, abandonment, fear, all come from within. Desperate for love, we elicit taboo relationships. Angry at an individual, we seek vengeance. If we are fearful of the meaningless void that is life, erasing our existence after our death, we find fulfillment in rash affairs. These solutions are only temporary, however, and will soon bring more unhappiness than we knew before. Beaten into the ground, our characters are too tired to fight back. They know that it's pointless to try. Perhaps they've given up. Yet in another instance, they seem to be the only characters who have a problem with the world. While every other character has seemed to begrudgingly accept the terms of the world they live in and become a part of it, our characters are able to take the basic step of recognizing that this is not the way it should be. Things are not okay. They know that there should be change, yet they struggle to embrace the courage. There's that yearning for greater growth, for something satisfactory beyond our world, an answer to their pain. While all their acquaintances have given up, these four still dream of some kind of change. This desire for improvement and spiritual growth is what separates our four main characters from the rest of the citizens. They are the ones who won't stay down, and still retain just a sliver of innocence within them. In one scene, Yu Chang attempts to put out a fire, bursting in a restaurant. In another scene, Wei Bu deflects the violence of an angry man in order to protect Wang Jin. He keeps being pushed down, but he always gets back up. Again, this is what makes our four main characters special. They refuse to lie down. They refuse to accept that there is no goodness or resolve in the world. This is the conflict. This is the quest. This is a natural desire in all of humanity. This is what makes these characters the most human in this whole film. The elephant is not some symbolic gimmick tacked on at the end of the film. It's a present force in our characters' minds, one that they aspire to confront if bold enough. It's there in the atmosphere, carried throughout the film. It motivates our characters to push back against the tide of an indifferent world. It is their dream, their reason for going on. Trapped in industrialized urbanity, the elephant represents something beyond the material world, a sign of a greater force, a chance at a new life, a relic in a culture that has favored sterile progress and abandoned its mindful roots. The characters have nothing to lose. They take the leap of faith, yet are sometimes almost discouraged from doing so. The elephant will not come to you. You must come to it. Perhaps the elephant can be likened to Hubo himself, something which we will never understand. We will never understand why he took his own life, how he made such a magnificent film, or why he was taken from us so soon. Why did such a talented artist choose to enact his own exit and deny us the pleasure of ever gracing us with a project again? It's not fair. This confusion is the undercurrent of the film, and stands as a monument to depression, an obelisk of hopelessness, despair, and confinement. Despite this, the film still fascinates us, an immortal project that will live forever. It's one of the best films of the 2010s, as it captured something only cinema can communicate. How strange that a mortal man can create something so profoundly immortal. A mysterious creator who blessed us with one of the greatest films of all time, before leaving us forever. The Buddhists believe that we are all one, 4 story threads, but one life, again unifying their collective experience. We all come from different backgrounds, different upbringings, ages, genders, yet we are all united, not in our suffering, but our desire to alleviate suffering, once and for all. That existential pain is the reason any of us do anything, from our worst to our best life decisions. Suffering is such a core component to our lives. If pain is a primary motivator, then it also motivates us to make art, and perhaps diminish that pain through our expression. This is what makes An Elephant Sitting Still such an essential film. It is the essence of art, to remind us that our lives are more than our suffering. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I know this review was a little different than my other videos. I decided not to do the whole, "Hey guys, welcome to the show," because I don't know, I thought that was kind of corny, so I'm not doing that anymore. Or maybe I will, I didn't find it appropriate for what I had written for this film, so I didn't do that for this one. I just did the standard voice video essayist approach. I do want to quickly mention that I actually have a part 2 of this review coming out soon. The topics I discussed in that video are probably better suited for its own separate work. So yeah, look forward to that. I'm anticipating that one. If you like this video, check out my other film-related videos. Check out my whole channel. Check out my second channel, Video Portraits. I have intelligent videos and unintelligent videos, which I think you'll all enjoy. I hope you check out An Elephant Sitting Still. I love it immensely. I loved it so much more on the second viewing. I now firmly believe it is one of the greatest films of all time. I think it is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. So yeah, please watch it, and I hope you really enjoy it. I hope it really connects with you, as it did for me and many other people. With that, thank you all so much for watching.